After a stunning sweep at the hands of the Milwaukee Bucks, the Miami Heat find themselves in a very precarious situation, with very limited options. What are they to do now? The odds of them letting those four guys walk and adding somebody that replaces all their value is very slim. Alright, welcome back to the front cover. It's your boy Trey Wilkinson. No, we're repping Jason Tatum twice. Always got this hanging up, but today I decided to rep the JT, averaging 30 points per game in that series against the Nets. But before we get into an off-season preview of sorts, make sure to like, subscribe. If you enjoy the videos, you can always unsubscribe later. And it's free. Do me a favor, do yourself a favor, just press that red button down there, and make sure to comment below the answer to this week's trivia question. How many MVPs has LeBron James won? Last week no one got it right. The question was kind of hard, is how many NBA games did Greg Oden play in? But this week I expect some people will at least get this one right. So make sure to comment below the answer to that question. Alright, the first issue for the Heat is age. Obviously you got Ty Hero, you got Duncan Robinson, you got Kendrick Nunn, you got Bam. But overall, this is an old team with only those few young guys sprinkled in. Duncan Robinson's 26, and the other guys aren't getting any younger, obviously. So the average age of the guys who played the majority of the minutes in the playoffs this season was 29 and a half years old, which is on definitely the older side. This is the third oldest team in the NBA, and in the playoffs, they just got a little older because they cut down on some precious minutes and also some other young guy minutes to fit in the vets. Free agency. This is an interesting one because they could go either very, very good or very, very bad. There's a spectrum here, and they could be on either side of it, to be honest. Because yes, they have a lot of money, but this is a year, there's not a whole lot of good free agents. You got DeRozan, you got Lowry, Chris Paul, there are some other guys, Tim Hardaway Jr., off the top of my head, I can't remember everybody, but Kawhi has a player option. But it's hard to see Kawhi leaving. Obviously, no one really knows what Kawhi's thinking. I don't even know if he knows what he's thinking. But it's hard to imagine that he spent the last 4 years trying to get to LA. So it's hard to imagine that he'll leave LA after just 2 seasons, even if they don't make it to the conference finals, even if they don't make it past the first round. It's hard to imagine him putting in all that work to get to his hometown just to leave it in a few seasons. So I'll say if the Clippers lose, and I'll do one for the Clippers if they end up losing to the Mavericks. If they lose, I think it's Paul George has to go. It's Pat Bev. It's Morris, Kennard. These guys getting $20 million a year that aren't even playing or playing at a high level. There will be an overhaul if they lose, but I don't think Kawhi will be leaving if they lose. They only have $77 million tied up this offseason, assuming they don't pick up the team options in Goran Dragic and Iguodala. I think those combined for about $33 million. And I think salary cap will be at least $109 million, which it was this season. So they will have a good amount of money, at least the max contract or max spots. Maybe Kawhi fits in there, probably not, but you never know. But the biggest thing for them to do is they're gonna have to bring back Duncan Robinson and Kendrick Nunn, 2 restricted free agents, probably going to get really big offers from teams that don't really think they have a shot. The Pistons, for instance, maybe they try to throw somebody back. The Pelicans, maybe they try to throw a bag at Duncan Robinson instead of trying to bring back Lonzo. Who knows? Restricted free agency is wild, as we saw Bogdanovich just walked. The Kings let Bogdanovich leave for nothing. That was a very strange decision by the Kings. But there's a reason they missed playoffs for 15 straight years or so. Even if they decide to bring in a Kyle Lowry, a DeRozan, a Kawhi, how much, besides Kawhi obviously, Kawhi would definitely help, but how much will having Kyle Lowry over Robinson and Nunn help this team? If they decide to replace Dragic, Iggy, Robinson, and Nunn with DeMar DeRozan, will that actually help them? Probably not. So I think the best option for them is to bring back the 2 young guys and then bring back one of Iggy or Dragic on their team option as a trade piece later on. And I'll talk about trades in a second. But the odds of them letting those 4 guys walk and adding somebody that replaces all their value is very slim. And I think the only person who does is Kawhi. And even then, maybe you still get worse if you let all 4 of those guys walk and only bring back Kawhi. So it's a very tough situation, as I said. But now we're getting to trades. The trade options are very limited, which is like this entire video. This is very limited. There's not a whole lot of assets in the Heat's safe. Robinson, Nunn, free agents. Hero, kind of underwhelming this season, really inefficient at times. Obviously, he's shown that he can still be a really good scorer, but also at times he shoots like 4 for 16 from the field, and you think he's like one of the worst players in the league. So, plus his defense isn't great. Bam's probably untouchable. Maybe if you're getting a top 10 guy in the NBA, you trade him. But that's only thing if you think you're getting a top tier guy. Plus, you have a great shot at winning the championship, because he's not a guy you move on from pretty easily. And I mean, Precious Achiuwa, some of the other young guys, they won't be enough to get a very impactful player, at least not yet. If you're going to trade him, develop him a little bit, then trade him instead of trading him now, when he's still pretty raw. If you have a chance at getting a superstar to Miami, you throw him in probably just to get the deal done. For instance, I mean, the Lakers threw in like Lonzo in the first just to get the Davis deal done, just so they could get it done basically and not have to worry about it anymore. They only have, I think, 5 picks available, 4 first-round picks, but they're all in consecutive years, so they can only trade 2 of them. They can swap the other 2, and only 1 second-round pick. So like the best thing they could do is probably pick up a team option for Dragic or Iggy. Probably, I guess Dragic, he has the most money. Pick up Dragic's team option, add Hero, and then add 2 first-round picks and 2 pick swaps. Throw in the second, throw in Precious. Maybe that can get you an all-star or a superstar, I guess, with all those picks. Teams probably won't find their picks very valuable either, because Pat Riley's really good at his job, Eric Spoelstra's really good at his job. They still got really young guys that can develop, as well as some vets. So I'm not saying that they're hopeless by any stretch, but they're in a tough situation. They're kind of in the dregs of the Eastern Conference. They don't have a high odds of getting a top pick. They're also not a contender, kind of where the Pacers have been the last few years, and you'd rather be the Bucks than the Pacers. You'd rather be a team that has a bunch of young guys, that has some picks, that it looks like this, like the ceiling is the roof, as MJ said. Like they can just go up and up and up, like the Kings, for instance. They have a bunch of young guys. They got another pick coming this season. The Timberwolves, for instance, they got a bunch of young guys. Maybe another pick, probably not, but at least another pick next season. A lot of talent, and you don't really want to be like the Spurs, right? You don't really want to be the Pacers. You'd rather be the Timberwolves or the Jazz. So, and the Heat right now are where the Pacers were, where the Raptors were, where the Spurs were, and maybe even are. So, not a great position for them. With all this being said, of course, Eric Spoelstra is a great coach. Pat Riley is amazing at his job, and it's Miami. Like, who doesn't want to go to Miami? Maybe Tim Hardaway Jr. decides to take a massive pay cut to go to Miami. Maybe Kyle Lowry decides to sign for $10 million a year to go to Miami. I doubt it, but who knows? Because, you know, it's a big destination spot. You got young guys. You got Jimmy Butler. And maybe they end up bringing in Kawhi and Spencer Dinwiddie to replace Nunn, Robinson, Dragic, and Iggy. Who can really say? It's a preview for a reason. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment below, answer the trivia question. I'll be back next week. Maybe we'll do the Clippers next week. But make sure to subscribe. And until next Saturday, peace.